how did they pass this off? Look at the media today. Do you know that they're giving COVID vaccines to 6-month-old children now? We know how bad it is. We know that it ruins stem cells in pregnant women. They don't give stem cells to their babies. The industry's upset because the placentas no longer have stem cells. They used to use those stem cells in research and cosmetics, et cetera. They're not getting them anymore because of what the COVID shots did to the placentas and those infants. That's not being talked about in the media. Nothing bad about the shots being talked about when we have Kevin McKernan and all these people looking at it going, there's SV40 in it. There was a staphylococcal endotoxin gene. There were 2 snake genes in there. It's a definite gain of function. Nope. We got to put it on the baby vaccine schedule, because any doubts, whether or not well-funded, about the vaccination must not be allowed to exist. That's why.
That sounds like a religion.
And it's been
going on. It sounds like
on.
a cult. It sounds like a crazy cult that the whole world's been sucked into. Giving a COVID shot to a baby today is insane.
3 of them. They get 3 by the certain. You'd have to look up the schedule, but I believe it starts at 6 months, and they get 3 of them. Kind of boom, boom,
Are
boom.
doctors really recommending this?
It's on the look. There's a group of people called ACIP. They're doctors, usually with vaccine interests in their bank accounts, that make the recommendations for the vaccines, and they have recommended that 6-month-olds. So if your doctor is following the ACIP program, you have to be offered that vaccine. And now that doctor, this is another part of the story, is that doctor's likely to lose $250,000 a year if they don't do that, because there's incentive given to hospitals and doctors, which is what naively I was on the other end of when I woke up in 2008 and said, wait a minute, why are we doing this stuff to my sick, inflamed patients? You're giving more inflammation. It's because the hospital would lose something like $40,000 if they didn't give a vaccine within the first 24 hours of admission.
Oh, my God.
And they would get $40,000. It was all a money game. That's really the bottom line of it. And I didn't know that until a nurse years ago, who was a high-level administration, she said, Suzanne, this is why they did that to you. Oh, wow, okay. Well, at least it makes sense now.
Nobody wants to think of it as a business. Nobody wants to think you're making business decisions at the expense of someone's health and possibly whether or not they make it. Like, what are you doing?
Well, that's been the case since, basically the medical profession was infiltrated in the early 1900s by, high-level interests that didn't want us thinking for ourselves and carrying on with the natural cures that actually work, carrying on with normal midwifery. There was just so many changes that happened as a result of best practice medicine, not to mention, the forming of the AMA by a couple of real quacks. That's a really good story. And the AMA would give their stamp of approval. So say you created an infant formula, well, it would say AMA approved, and your infant formula would sell even better. Or remember when doctors smoked Camels because Camels were best? Those were the days.
And this is also the time when this coincides with when Rockefeller was designing the school system, right?
Well, first Rockefeller, I think oil was one of their primary
right. So that's the pharmaceutical aspect of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you want to talk about the school system?
No, but he did both, right?
Okay.
He was a part of both. So he was a part of the reason why natural cures are so easily dismissed and why it's so dismissed, because Rockefeller put the entire medical establishment on oil-based.
That's right.
So all pharmaceutical drugs that are made by using oil.
Yeah.
And he did it because he sold oil.
You know that one of the ironies? It kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I got rid of a really bad case of mange in a dog by kerosene, putting kerosene diluted in olive oil, and they had been through everything. They could not get rid of this mange on this beautiful dog.
Oh wow.
It was a cane Corso dog, and
mange is horrible for dogs. Oof.
Really bad, but one spray, it was done.
I had a dog that I picked up.
You have to keep careful around the flames and stuff.
I had a dog that I picked up off the street and took her in, and she had horrible mange, but it all went away with just food. I just gave her healthy food.
No, it can't. Joe, come on. You had to have an expert help you.
No kerosene, no nothing, just love.
Food. Oh, that was an argument
love.
I had in the hallway once with the senior chief of medicine. He was like, he would always say, so how are you today? And normally be like, good, superficial conversation. I said, by the way, I'm having real trouble with, the H1N1 vaccine. My patient's getting kidney failure after getting it. And he turned dark on me. I never saw him dark before. And he said, No, that just didn't have time to take effect. And of course, then I heard every kind of soundbite in the book from him, which I didn't know were sound bites at the time. And then he said, well, what do you think is happening with meningitis and these college kids? I'm like, oh, come on, that's a total no-brainer. It's like their nutrition goes down the tubes when they leave home. They're smoking. They're staying up all night long. They're hanging out with their pals. They're doing everything they couldn't do when they were at home. Oh, you got to be kidding me. So you think it's their food that's causing problems? And I was like, well, what medical school did you go to? Like, I was actually taught that nutrition matters and how it matters and why it matters. But that's been almost completely like if you want to sneak vitamin C into somebody's hospital room, you know the best way to do it? Don't bring in a jar of vitamin C because they will stop that at the door. You get yourself a McDonald's milkshake or a burger, and you just dump that milkshake out and you put something else in there, a smoothie with some vitamin C, and they will say, off you go. That's perfectly fine. That's going to be great for this person, this child. That's how you can get it in because they think that McDonald's is wonderful. In fact, McDonald's are kind of situated proximal to a lot of hospitals, and the Ronald McDonald houses are there and everything else. But bring in a homeopathic or, magnesium or vitamin C, and you've got to get permission for it and go through so much red tape, and a lot of time you'll be told, no, you can't give it because, you'll cause bowel necrosis, you'll cause diarrhea, you'll cause kidney stones, everything in the book that doesn't actually happen with vitamin C. But it's what look, they've measured vitamin C levels on people that enter hospitals, and pretty much everybody's deficient or on the border of deficient when they enter, and pretty much everybody when they leave is got borderline scurvy, if not full scurvy. Fortunately, they go home and start doing other things and can rebuild some of their vitamin C scores. But there's a lot of subclinical scurvy walking around out there, and those are the people that are going to do the worst with the vaccine, and then they're going to do the worst with
subclinical scurvy in modern society, just
absolutely.
From poor diet.
Well, it's not just the poor diet. So any kind of stress will consume vitamin C. A cigarette will consume 75 milligrams of vitamin C, and they tell you that you only need 190 milligrams a day. That's the FDA requirement.
Wow.
So you just have a few cigarettes and you've depleted your stores. So we don't make our own vitamin C as humans. Humans and guinea pigs, we don't do that. And so we have to consume it. And we're reliant upon our fruits and vegetables or supplements to do. Or if you eat organ meat, you can eat the adrenals. They're loaded with it. But aside from that, it's your fruits and vegetables that are going to give it to you. So if you're under a lot of stress, or you're taking medication, or you have a lot of inflammation or arthritis, whatever, that's going to consume vitamin C, because vitamin C is an antioxidant as well as an antiviral, and good for your nervous system. So yeah, most people are walking around skimming the edge. You can see kind of a red line on some people's gums. They're probably vitamin C deficient. If your gums are bleeding a lot when you floss, you probably need some vitamin C. And you could have an infection too, but it will deal to the infection as well as the integrity and the collagen inside of your bones and your soft tissues. I mean, it's like one of those things that's so important it should be given upon admission to every hospital.